The White House is trying, I'm told, if these sources are accurate, that the White House is actually considering taking out the Ayatollah Khamenei. And there is President Trump and First Lady walking to the beast, headed to Capitol Hill. Well, reports are, again, if these sources are accurate, that President Trump is trying to decide whether to take out the Ayatollah Khamenei and or his son. Now, some would say, what? Why the son? Apparently, that son, of course, would be the next leader in line. So, again, there's a lot of debate going on as to what is going to happen. I guess Chuck Schumer came out of a briefing today saying that this is a big deal. What's about to happen is a big deal related to Iran. Others are saying it's going to get us into a war we don't need to be in, and that it could create real problems, depending on, of course, where Russia and China come down. But just Iran alone. But apparently, we're going to find out more tonight as the motorcade is now moving and headed toward Capitol Hill. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump on board. Joining me now and will be with me throughout the evening as long as the two of us can hang in here. As, by the way, members of the Senate, you see Senator Cotton right there. You see the senator from Missouri just walked by. There's Fetterman. I could keep naming these guys off, but that's kind of boring. But there's Josh Hawley going by. They are headed across Statutory Hall to the House side, the chamber side, the House side. And that's what's going on there. Joining me, as I said, to provide running color commentary throughout the night, is, if we can indeed stay here for 2 to 3 hours, if that's how long it goes, is none other than Patrick Wood. Patrick, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this special live coverage of the President's State of the Union address.
This is a big deal for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say. We'll be commenting along the way if it's appropriate.
Yeah, we will. We're just going to mute the president for a moment, make a few comments, jump back in. We're taking notes. I've got my notepad. I'm sure Patrick has his as well. And we're going to be anticipating what he might say. Do you believe that he will, and we can bring that down, do you believe that we will be going to hear about data centers, AI, the golden age? What do you think?
I think so. He has to mention something about it for sure. Remember, this was the race against China, right? So he's certainly going to update us on the race. Are we ahead? Are we behind? Whatever.
You and I had a very interesting broadcast today that I sent out to a few friends of mine over at worldviewtube.com, where most of you are watching, I'm sure, tonight. You'll find it there, worldviewtube.com, although I know we're on YouTube, we're on Spreaker, we're on Truth Social. We're on so many platforms. But I sent out a link to our radio show, TV show at 1 o'clock Central today, because it was just a fascinating conversation you and I had, because President Trump has this international peace board, as we all know. But I'm sure a lot of the listeners, some of them knew already because it's a pretty informed audience, but I think some were maybe shocked to find out that this is a board that is independent from any government. He's the head of it. He can choose who is on the board, who is not, and he is the chairman as long as he is on this planet or chooses to resign and offer up the job to whoever else he picks. I mean, this you and I talked about from a biblical perspective, a Bible prophecy perspective, in that he has made comments the UN has kind of not done what it really could be capable of doing. And you and I are saying when you pay $1 billion to have a seat, man, I'm looking to see if we end up with 10 leaders per Revelation 17, the 10 horns or 10 kings who've not yet received a kingdom, meaning at the time John was writing, but who will receive a kingdom or an empire or a land mass, and then they give their power to the Antichrist. I'm not saying President Trump's the Antichrist, but what I'm saying is it seems as though the system for whether it's digital ID, cryptocurrency, tracking, social credit scores, and now the ability to create out of thin air an international board with $1 billion price tag per seat can be created that will long survive even after he's out of office or who he appoints after him. The point was this could go very quickly. And Revelation chapter 1 says that when these things begin to unfold, they'll happen fast. I think you and I are now seeing how the framework could go so that things that are not even thinkable now become thinkable, even in sometimes a matter of days or weeks or months.
I'm wondering if the tech pros in Washington, D.C., who basically all subscribe to the dark enlightenment philosophy that Curtis Yarvin put in place in the first place. And I think they're encouraging Trump to become monarch, maybe of the world as in America, maybe the world then next. But this is an embedded ideology in Washington, D.C., that we need a monarch to run everything, because basically order is going to be fleeting. And they say we have to have somebody like a CEO run the country like a startup in Silicon Valley. This is very dangerous thinking, because it obviates the Constitution altogether. We don't want a dictator or a monarch in America. That's totally antithetic to the American experiment.
Yeah, indeed it is. And here we have footage again, Vice President making his way onto the floor. Of course, folks have watched many of these. Will know that he will eventually be sitting behind the lectern of which President Trump will be at, speaking, along with the House Speaker Mike Johnson. I see John Thune in the picture there for one moment. Now we're starting to see the generals that sit on the Joint Chiefs of Staff down at the bottom left-hand corner of your picture. Mike Johnson is now already up on the podium. There you go. There's your various members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Again, the discussion is whether the Supreme Court will be there tonight, and how many of them, particularly after the harsh words by President Trump this week. Do you think he'll be calling them out when it comes to the tariffs? Do you think he'll be naming them and pointing to them? They'll just be matter of feet from him.
It's going to be interesting to see. They traditionally, this Supreme Court is deadpan. They don't crack a smile. They don't clap. They don't stand up. Nothing. So they're probably going to do that tonight. But you might just get a glimmer, like an eyelid moving, something like that. Or maybe Trump is going to call them out, and they'll get him moving that way. But all these people in the front row, they're supposed to be completely silent, not giving approval or disapproval.
Yeah, you're not going to see the generals giving too much. They're apolitical. The Supreme Court members are not going to be giving too much away. A lot of times those guys don't even applaud because, again, they are supposed to be neutral on this situation. Now, I want to go back real quick to what you and I were talking about today, and with this International Peace Board. You were mentioning that some of the members are known to be members of the Trilateral Commission. Now, that's the kind of thing that people say, well, now he's getting off into conspiracy and conspiracy theories. But Senator Barry Goldwater, who, by the way, just for folks who don't know, Barry Goldwater's chief of staff came into Patrick Wood's office, 3-4 decades ago, and said 4 decades ago, and said, and he thought he was with the FBI. Way he was dressed, Patrick thought he was FBI.
I was pretty sure he was going to pull out a Tommy gun and just mow us all down. I just looked that way.
You thought he was government, though, huh?
Well, yeah, he had spit-shine shoes. He had a nice suit, and plus he had that kind of a buff look, square cut shoulders. He just looked the type.
Yeah. And so he walked in, and it turns out he was the chief of staff for Senator Barry Goldwater, who we all know ran for president. 64, Ronald Reagan gave that great speech that we know today, A Time for Choosing. And he said, we want to have your help. The senator wants to write a book on the Trilateral Commission. So for those that think this is the stuff of conspiracies, no, the Trilateral Commission is a real group. It's not something that's made up, that people make up and talk about that doesn't really exist. It does exist. He warned about it and said that they would penetrate the issue of government and economics and the ecclesiastical arena, religion.
Religion as well.
Many of these people on this international board, you say, are tied back to the Trilateral Commission, right?
Indeed, they are. And these are handpicked by President Trump. This wasn't they weren't appointed from the United Nations or Congress or whatever. These are handpicked people. In fact, all of the people on the board are handpicked by Trump. He has the sole say on who's going to serve, and these are his choices.
These are his choices indeed. Which I don't know if the audience, how many of them caught today's broadcast, but you pointed out something to me today, and that is there was a group started many, many years ago called the Elders. The Elders. Who are we?
Well,
it was founded by
here's a
Nelson
group-
Rockefeller, and then you see down here at the bottom, the late Jimmy Carter was involved. How does this square up with this new International Peace Board of President Trump, the group, the Elders?
Their mission on the homepage there is to establish peace among the nations. That's exactly what they wanted to do. A group of global leaders working for peace, justice, and human rights, and a sustainable planet, of course. But most of these members, I think probably 60% of them, were members of the Trilateral Commission. I viewed that at the time basically just as like an extension of the Trilateral Commission. And these people had the audacity to say, well, the world is like a village, and we're going to be the elders of the world. And so they just went out to do good things around the world. And I don't think any of them came to pass. But here's my point. This has been brewing in their mind for a long time, this business about keeping peace. And who doesn't want peace? Everybody wants peace. But it's never happened either, because, that's the way people are. But at this point, Trump is stepping up, and he's continuing this elder nonsense by creating this Board of Peace. And there's not even going to be elders. The elders, typically, you think, well, like at a church, if they want to do something, if they voted on it. Well, I don't think Trump is going to allow any voting at all amongst his board of directors. So, this is going to be an autocratic, top-down exercise of whatever. I don't know. Maybe they're going to be peace, but my guess is it's going to be somewhat economic and fashion. And I think probably we're going to see many billions of dollars changing hands.
Mm. And we talked today about Tony Blair in my book, The Coming Religious Reich, from 2016. It's about 500 pages. I talk a lot about Tony Blair in that book because Tony Blair, as you know, is part of the Labor Party that was birthed out of the Fabian socialist movement. The Fabian socialists want world government, socialism and world government. Really by evolution, not revolution. They're happy to let the Marxists and the Islamists kick the can down the road, then they'll take advantage of the chaos. But he's a Fabian socialist, and he unveiled the Fabian window after it was missing for a while and showed back up. He unveiled it and talked about how the Labor Party was hopefully accomplishing the goals of the Fabian Socialist Society. We know that window by George Bernard Shaw, created in 1910, has two men banging on a hot earth that's come out of the fire, with a man in a purple robe who is using a bellow and blowing up the fire, making the fire bigger. The world comes out of that fire, and it says at the top of the picture, remold it nearer to the heart's desire. And they're taking this crisis and they're hammering on the world, remolding it into their shape. So in other words, order out of crisis, order out of chaos. That's Tony Blair's group. He also had the Tony Blair Faith Foundation, seeking to bring the religions of the world together as one. Mm-hmm. And yet, here's Tony Blair on this committee as we're waiting President Trump. Here is Tony Blair and what he had to say. I want you to comment on this. We have audio. We'll pull that down and we'll find out where it's coming from. It's probably one of the live feeds that we're carrying in the background. Okay. We'll find it and we'll mute that so we can play that. That take care of it? All right. Now let's go back to Tony Blair. Again, he is at this International Board of Peace that was last Thursday. Listen to this, please.
For decades, Gaza's governance has been characterized by extremism, corruption, ineffective institutions, and the complete absence of a route to prosperity for the Gazan people. Yet, as President Trump recognized, its potential has always been vast. 25 miles of Mediterranean coastline, proximity to great regional and global markets, and a young, dynamic population with a median age of 19. So today we set out profound changes necessary to rebuild Gaza for Gazans. Gaza not as it was, but as it should be, including its governance. Effective public institutions serving the people, a business environment where enterprise flourishes, an education system educating the young for tolerance and achievement, and a tech-enabled society making the most of the digital revolution. This is a vision of Gaza as part of a Middle East at peace. Not a phony piece of declarations no one means and agreements no one intends to keep, but a genuine commitment to a region where, whether you're a Muslim, Jew, Christian, of any faith or none, you can rise by your own efforts and feel your government by your side, not on your back. That is the vision behind President Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza, and it remains the best, indeed the only hope for Gaza, the region, and the wider world.
The only hope for the region, and the wider world, the only hope is President Trump's peace board. Again, fascinating to see a guy like Tony Blair, who we've been following for a long time, sitting there talking like this. And President Trump has said on video, we can pretty much do what we want. Patrick?
This is one of the members of the Trilateral Commission, is Tony Blair. He's speaking for the club, if you will. I think George Carlin he said, once upon a time, there's a club and you ain't in it. And so, at this point, they're in it, you're not, and they're going to call the shots. But it's totally hypocritical, in my opinion, for him to say something like this when he's caused so much chaos in the world, including the Islamic invasion of Great Britain. This is absolutely unconscionable to me that he would be involved with this stuff in the first place on behalf of the Trilateral Commission, I have to say. And so now he's saying, "Oh, we're gonna achieve peace in your time." Sorry, I don't buy it.
I don't buy it either. But of course, President Trump put out this tweet, this Truth Social post. The Board of Peace has unlimited potential. Last October, I released a plan for the permanent end to the conflict in Gaza. Our vision was unanimously adopted by the United Nations Security Council. Shortly thereafter, we facilitated humanitarian aid at record speed and secured the release of every living and deceased hostage. Just last month, 24 distinguished founding members joined me in Davos, Switzerland, to celebrate its official formation and present a bold vision for the civilians in Gaza, and then ultimately for beyond Gaza. And then notice, Patrick, all caps, world peace, world peace. It's interesting. I'm not saying President Trump is the Antichrist, not saying that. But I do think that we are being conditioned for a world leader who will promise world peace, yes, because the Bible tells us that he shows up on a horse and he is claiming to bring world peace. And it's a fake peace because right away the next CO we see is one of war. So it's a false peace. But we're being primed for global peace, are we not?
It seems that way. And it's really interesting that both Blair and Trump are basically dismissing the United Nations at this point. Was set up in the first place by people like John D. Rockefeller and way long ago, but it's always been viewed as kind of an organ that was used by the Rockefeller family to pursue, for instance, Agenda 21, 2030 Agenda, climate change, that sort of stuff. And all of a sudden, they're sweeping it aside. Tony Blair just said, basically, guys, you haven't cut it. We're taking over. This unelected, unaccountable board of peace. There's nobody going to shepherd them at all, and they're going to take over the mission of global peace, and it's going to be taken away from the United Nations. This in itself just tells you, well, they're done with the United Nations at this point. That's what it tells me in any case. Mm-hmm. When especially all these members of the Trilateral Commission who are milling around the world. Keir Starmer is a member of the Trilateral Commission. Carney in Canada is a member of the Trilateral Commission. There's plenty others as well, and on this Board of Peace. So these people are milling around, licking their chops to get their hands on the complete economic system of the world. And the United Nations now stands in their way, and I think we're going to see more and more actions against the UN to minimize them and get them out of the way.
And what's very interesting about this whole thing, too, as you know, Patrick, is that President Trump has openly talked about Qatar recently at this first meeting. And to think that we're going to include groups like Qatar, Qatar, depending on if you want to say it, it really is an ecumenical interfaith event, is it not? Which is what you see with a one world religion, a one world economy, a one world government. So it's not like this is some exclusive group that, well, we know that can't be laying the foundation for what's coming because it's not inclusive enough. This is extremely inclusive, which fits the narrative of where we're going. Again, I don't know if this board will be around in a year, 2 years, 3 years. I have no idea. But the fact that it's around and that this template's being used, created out of thin air, given its own power and authority with global leaders and one man at the helm picking who can be on and who cannot and who is appointed for life until he chooses someone else, shows us that this whole system that will eventually come by Antichrist can be created quickly. Again, this system that we're seeing now, the people involved may have nothing to do with it, but it's setting the framework, and it's really setting the legal framework. We know that a lot of our laws, sadly, in America are not based on static law, the Constitution, absolute truth. It's Darwinian evolution. Society evolves, morals evolve, the law evolves, and it's case law theory. That's the whole Christopher Columbus Landau philosophy applied to the law. Case law. You get one judge or the Supreme Court to make a silly unconstitutional ruling, and then the next courts hang their ruling on that as well. Well, this in the same way is setting an international precedent that says, yeah, if this isn't the platform, if this isn't the system, if this isn't the committee, the next group, the next individual, the Antichrist, well, he's already been given now permission to set up such a system and create it very quickly with international power.
Apparently so. And we need to remember, too, that Trump has basically declared himself to be the monarch of this group. Monarchies are passed from father to son. We see this in England, for instance. And Trump has the exclusive power to stay in power for life, his life, right? And he's required to pick his successor before he dies. I don't know what else he'll do if he doesn't do it before he dies. Say, for instance, if he did drop dead right now, I don't know how this would work. Maybe they'll have a little room somewhere, and they all vote, and we'll see a puff of smoke or something coming out of the chimney. I don't know, but it's interesting. This is set up as a monarchy. That tells you something about the whole project. It's going to stay in the family and not be shared with anybody else. In other words, if Tony Blair ever thinks he's going to become the leader, it'll only be because Trump appoints him. But more likely, Trump will keep it in his own family. Why not?
Can we find the cover that was I guess it was a funny cover that they made
Time Magazine.
On Time Magazine? Can we find that? Logan had that earlier today. Maybe ask Logan where it's at. But it was a funny cover of President Trump on a mocked up. Here it is. Found it. And apparently President Trump put this out himself. He put this out on Truth Social. The guys in the control room tell me. Hopefully they're right. But this was some kind of funny little cover people made. Long live the king. And apparently he reposted that on Truth Social as a joke too. But I have to wonder, isn't there a little bit of truth in every joke? For the most part,
yes,
depending on the joke.
Indeed.
Depending on the joke, we'll give ourselves that little caveat, depending on the joke.
Yeah, seems that way.
We've talked about people like Barack Obama, getting out of the White House after 8 years, and could you see him becoming the UN Secretary General? And you think like that, or Bill Clinton or someone. That never happened. But we are actually seeing President Trump, while he's president, set up himself as an international global leader. Which is going to usher in, they think, the golden age, right? Which I find very interesting because the New Apostolic Reformation, the false prophets and apostles in this crowd, the Reconstructionists, the Dominionists, they all believe that we're headed toward a golden age of so many people becoming believers. And I'd love to see that, but I don't see that in the Bible. I see a great falling away from traditionally held biblical truths. But they talk about this great golden age. And that's interesting because they use that phrase. Here's President Trump using it, and he's surrounded by these kind of people on his Religious Liberty Commission, people that are in this kind of let's set a global dominionism, a Christianity so-called that spreads. So again, when you factor that in as well, it's just very interesting, all of the things that are converging at one time that most Americans, and sadly, most Christians are not even recognizing these different phases and things and streams that are flowing that eventually will come together on a global scale. And I think really start to fulfill the things that we see in the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation. And I say, find a network tonight, Patrick, that's going to discuss this with someone like yourself who's been studying this for 40 plus years. You're not going to get this kind of Christian worldview, biblical backdrop to all of these global events, are you?
Not hardly. Not hardly.
What do you make of that? That so many of these folks are reconstructionists and dominionists and are calling for basically a theocracy. You know, we had, and again, Pete Hegseth's prayer the other night at the White House. It was a beautiful prayer. It was a wonderful and beautiful prayer, and I commend him for it. Other than one phrase, he started out King Jesus. Well, Jesus is not king right now. The Bible says in the book of Hebrews chapter 1, Hebrews chapter 8, I believe it is, that he is set down at the right hand of the Father, and he's serving as the high priest, making intercessory prayer for us. He will be king, and during the millennial kingdom in Jerusalem, the Davidic throne he'll sit upon. But right now, he's our high priest. But many of these people are buying a wrong eschatology, and their bad theology and eschatology is driving them to try to create this golden age where we have to subdue all the 7 mountains of mandates of arts, media, government, entertainment, and usher in the kingdom of God. That's not in the Bible, but yet you see this mixture of government and religious eschatology that is quite interesting to watch, because you and I and so many talked about that kind of thing would come. We didn't see that in the Biden years. We're seeing it now.
Exactly. One of the chapters in our new book, The Final Betrayal, How Technocracy Destroyed America, chapter 7 deals with the rise of state religion. And it's unmistakable at this point, in my opinion, that there's going to be not a gaslighting, but we'll see the ecumenical movement is jumping for joy at this point.
The ecumenical movement is jumping for joy. That's a great way to put it.
Well, they really are, because they haven't seen this for a long time. Tony Blair was like the head of the ecumenical movement in the last 20, 30 years. So he's been pushing this for a long time. Let's get everybody together, the Muslims, the Buddhists, the Hindus, and the Christians, and the World Council of Churches, all these people together in the same organization, and let's work out our differences, or just let's ignore our differences and work together on certain projects. Well, isn't this exactly where we've just arrived? Seems to me.
That's what John D. Rockefeller, who, of course, they donated the land on which the UN sits. He said so many decades ago, would that I had the vision, would that you could see the vision as it unfolds in my mind. I see the church literally leading the way as it should in all great movements. I see it literally establishing the kingdom of God on earth. That's a direct quote from John D. Rockefeller, who gave the land on which the UN sits, right? And the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, the Rockefeller Foundation, they're also very involved still to this day. And now, sadly, so many Christians have bought the idea that, hey, aren't we supposed to build the kingdom of God? Yet, as I've been saying in our series on Daniel, you know, we're not given a great conquest, a plan for a great conquest. We're given the plan of a great commission. We're in the church age right now. We go out and we preach the gospel, but many think we have a great conquest. And isn't it interesting that people on the left and the right have bought into this idea of a great conquest to establish God's kingdom on earth? Well, Daniel 2 tells us several times, friends, Daniel 2, verse 44, that God brings his kingdom. God establishes the kingdom, that he brings it. We don't build it. So again, I have to ask, who are they laying the foundation for? What kingdom and whose kingdom?
This language that we saw with Hegseth's prayer, King Jesus, this is a concept that's promoted by Doug Wilson and his network of churches around the country. Their idea is, of course, that Jesus is the king of the world. This world right now, in other words, the king of all the nations. this is completely off base, but this is what he's referring to.
And just for those who know, First John says that Satan is the god of this world right now, that he's on a leash. The Lord, again, is the high priest. He is exercising his sovereign lordship, right? He is exercising his sovereign lordship, what he will and will not allow. But he's not the king yet because we're not in that millennial kingdom or state. So people, when they start getting their theology and eschatology wrong, as we've been talking about on our Daniel series, they start getting their ecclesiology wrong. What is the mission and function of the church? And now we start thinking, hey, we've got to take over. Not that we don't want to have Christian influence and be salt and light, but we're not interested in using our positions in government to create a theocracy because God, the Lord's in heaven, the Lord God's in heaven waiting for us to get us together, as Earl Polk and Bob Jones of the Kansas City Prophets in the 80s said. He's literally in heaven waiting for us to say, okay, we've built your kingdom, now come on down. Kind of like Bob Barker, come on down.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we are watching there J.D. Vance and Mike Johnson, and that's interesting. J.D. Vance, he really has been overshadowed by Marco Rubio, has he not?
It seems so. It seems so, exactly. You know, I wanted to show this verse from Revelation chapter 11 and 15. It says, and the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever. This is where the kingdoms of the world are turned over to Christ. He doesn't have them at this time because the God of this world is still in control. This is a misapplication of Scripture. And in fact, I can't imagine these people even read the book of Revelation and take something like this into account. But nevertheless, this is where the kingdoms of the world are turned over to Jesus, and he's not king. We can't call him King Jesus over the nations of the world at this point.
No, at this point. And as you know, Daniel is the foundation for the book of Revelation. And
Yes.
we've already referenced Daniel 2, verse 44, that says that God's kingdom is represented as a big stone. And it says right there, not cut by human hands. A stone not cut by human hands. So we don't do it. It's a stone, and it crushes the other kingdoms that are in that Nebuchadnezzar vision that show Babylon, the Medo-Persian, Greece, Roman Empire,
Yes.
revived Roman Empire. So, I mean, the text is so clear that the Lord God is going to allow these things to happen, and then finally he will step into human history, bring his kingdom that crushes those, and that fits with what you just read in the book of Revelation. And isn't that what the Lord's Prayer says? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Not, Lord, help us build your kingdom in this earth.
Exactly.
But thy kingdom come.
Yep, exactly.
And people think we're just arguing semantics and splitting hairs here.
Not hardly.
No, because
hardly.
if you get this wrong, you're going to get your whole mission and purpose as a Christian and your local New Testament church all wrong, and you're going to be spending a lot of your money and time and influence trying to accomplish something that's not even going to happen. And the other thing, too, people start to get demoralized. Christians start to get demoralized because they think, well, it's not working out. What's going on? I thought we were supposed to be establishing the kingdom of God. No, we're to be salt and light. Duty is ours. The results belong to God. But in this church age, we are told it's going to get worse and worse. Be of good cheer. I have overcome. Be of good cheer. Don't be deceived, but keep going, right? And if you don't understand how the plan lays out, you're going to get demoralized and you're going to drop out. And sadly, I see a lot of people doing that. They get demoralized and they drop out because they've been told that the church is going to take over with this bad and wrong theology. And they become so demoralized, they stop being salt and light altogether.
Yep, that seems that way. I see a lot of clapping going on here.
And that is because this is Senator Cotton coming in with President Trump. There is President Trump. Let's dial in and listen to a little bit of the applause. We can continue adding in some commentary here. As the president, there is our Congressman Tim Burchett talking to him right there from East Tennessee. He's been on the broadcast. John Thune, U.S. Senator, South Dakota. Tim Burchett's getting in quite a few remarks there.
He's matching my tie.
Well, you know, he sure is. I haven't thought about it. I would have done the red tie myself, but I guess I didn't get the memo. But I should have known, right? Folks, tonight, if you'd like to send in some of your comments as the president is speaking, feel free to send in some of your emails as the president starts speaking. Your thoughts, we'll read some of your emails on the air. You can respond. We'll be interrupting a little bit with some color commentaries. We see Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Barron Trump in the gallery. Somebody had a sign there. That guy is known for that kind of thing. I think he had to be taken out in the past. Because of disrupting one of Trump's speeches, but I don't know what it even said. We'll try to find that later. But if you guys would like to add in your comments, we'll read some of your emails on the air. As there's his Secretary of Defense Duffy there. There's Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee running for governor of Tennessee now. Brannon at worldviewtube.com. Send it over. Brannon, Brannon. Brannon at there's Chief Justice John Roberts. There you go. He's going down the line, shaking hands. This is going to be interesting to watch. It's tonight. Brannon, Brannon, Brannon at worldviewtube.com. If you want to send your comments, your statements about what's going on tonight, what the president's saying tonight, we'll mix in some of your comments, things he says that you like, which we'll be commenting on. I think he's going to say some things tonight we do really like and agree with. I really do. Maybe some things he says that concern you. Whatever it is, we'd like to mix some of your comments in. Brannon, Brannon at worldviewtube.com. All right, let's dump in as Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, announces the president. All right, let's go back there. You see that here, trying to take that guy's sign from him. I
remember that guy.
Yeah, he's created problems before. It had been taken out in another State of the Union address. We're trying to figure out what his sign says. If any of you figure it out, email it to us. But a few people have tried taking the sign from him.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
There's a lot of senators from the
thank you very much,
Democrat
everybody.
side.
It's really an honor. Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance, First Lady of the United States.
His sign, by the way, I just found it. His sign, I can't even believe he's saying that. I'm going to verify that he's really saying that. But it looks like that's what he's saying. Hold on. Yep, it looks like he's saying, his sign says, Black people aren't apes. And of course, this has to do with
Second
the
lady of the
unfortunate
United States.
social media post that got a tag on the end of it and loaded that portrayed Barack Obama, Michelle Obama in a way that was very offensive to myself and, of course, all of you as well. It wasn't intentional. It was a poor edit by a staffer who didn't edit the tail end out. But he's still holding the sign, as you guys can see.
Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before. Less than 5 months from now, our country will celebrate an epic milestone in American history, the 250th anniversary of our glorious American independence. This July 4th, we will mark 2.5 centuries of liberty and triumph, progress and freedom in the most incredible and exceptional nation ever to exist on the face of the earth. And you've seen nothing yet. We're going to do better and better and better. This is the golden age of America.
All right, there's that line. We're barely 2 minutes into the speech, and we're hearing that line. I'm all for a golden age, but we'll see. And for a golden age of liberty and freedom, but I don't know necessarily what sometimes the technocrats mean by golden age, Patrick.
Inherited.
You're right. Maybe we'll find out what he means.
Inflation at record levels, a wide open border, horrendous recruitment for military and police, rampant crime at home, and wars and chaos all over the world. But tonight, after just 1 year, I can say with dignity and pride that we have achieved a transformation like no one has ever seen before, and a turnaround for the ages. It is indeed a turnaround for the ages.
You see the bottom screen, that Congressman Al Green, Democrat of Texas,
And
is
we
still
will never go back.
squabbling with people. Looks like they're going to try to get him out of there.
Back. Today our border is secure. Thank you. Today our border is secure. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before. And our enemies are scared. Our military and police are stacked. And America is respected again, perhaps like never before. After 4 years in which millions and millions of illegal aliens poured across our borders, totally unvetted and unchecked, we now have the strongest and most secure border in American history by far. In the past 9 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted to the United States. But we will always allow people to come in legally, people that will love our country and will work hard to maintain our country. The flow of deadly fentanyl across our border is down by a record 56% in 1 year. And last year, the murder rate saw its single largest decline. in recorded history. This is the biggest decline, think of it, in recorded history, the lowest number in over 125 years. Year 1900. In fact, substantially before my wonderful father, I had a wonderful father, Fred, before he was born, substantially before he was born. That's a long time ago. He wouldn't like me to say that, but that's a long time ago. The Biden administration and its allies in Congress gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country. But in 12 months, my administration has driven core inflation down to the lowest level in more than 5 years. And in the last 3 months of 2025, it was down to 1.7%. Gasoline, which reached a peak of over $6 a gallon in some states under my predecessor, it was quite honestly a disaster, is now below $2.30 a gallon in most states, and in some places, $1.99 a gallon. And when I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline. Mortgage rates are the lowest in 4 years and falling fast, and the annual cost of a typical new mortgage is down almost $5,000 just since I took office. 1 year. And low interest rates will solve the Biden-created housing problem while at the same time protecting the values of those people who already own a house that really feel rich for the first time in their lives. We want to protect those values. We want to keep those values up. We're going to do both. And we are going to keep it that way. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election. Think of that, 1 year. Boosting pensions, 401ks, and retirement accounts for the millions and millions of Americans. They're all gaining. Everybody's up, way up. In 4 long years, the last administration got less than $1 trillion in new investment in the United States. And when I say less, substantially less. In 12 months, I secured commitments for more than $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe. Think of it, much less than $1 trillion for 4 years versus much more than $18 trillion for 1 year. What a difference a president makes. A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, the hottest. As thousands of new businesses are forming and factories, plants, and laboratories are being built, we have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a very short period of time. It's getting bigger and bigger and stronger. Nobody can believe what they're watching. American oil production is up by more than 600,000 barrels a day, and we just received from our new friend and partner, Venezuela, more than 80 million barrels of oil. American natural gas production is at an all-time high because I kept my promise to drill, baby, drill. More Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. Think about that. Any time in the history of our country, more working today. And 100% of all jobs created under my administration have been in the private sector. We ended DEI in America. We cut a record number of job-killing regulations, and in 1 year, we have lifted 2.4 million Americans, a record, off of food stamps. And for all of these reasons, I say tonight, members of Congress, the state of our union is strong. Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, 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 you're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in.
All right, Patrick, this is a first. I don't remember an Olympic team, gold medal team, being invited in the middle of the speech like that. That's pretty cool. He is ticking off quite a few accomplishments. Crime down, best rate in 125 years. He says inflation is down 1.7%. I don't know if I buy that number, the 1.7% inflation. I think it's probably higher than that, but it is better, I'm sure. Gas below $2.30, $1.99, $1.85, depending on the state that you're in. Lowest mortgage rates in 4 years, 80 million barrels of oil from Venezuela. So he is ticking off some good accomplishments, and I sense this is really his opportunity with all the networks to basically give a Trump rally for the midterms coming up. Quick comment before we go back to the president.
Exactly right. This will be a rally speech for sure. He may not have another chance to air all of his accomplishments in the future.
Well, you know, President George W. wasn't always the best at telling the American people what he accomplished. President Trump does do that very well.
Indeed.
He does look like he's enjoying himself. He's certainly
always.
In fine form tonight.
Totally. Yep. He enjoys a crowd, especially a crowd that's clapping for him.
These guys have had a very interesting day. They were flown in on a government plane, one of the blue and white planes, said United States of America on the side with that
That's the first time I've ever seen
light
them
blue
get
picked
up.
by Jackie Kennedy so many years ago, went to the Oval Office, and now they're at the State of the Union that we go back to.
Yes.
But they beat a fantastic Canadian team in overtime, as everybody saw, as did the American women who will soon be coming to the White House.
And for the folks wanting to know, all those people that are there with their laptops, that is known as the House Gallery, the Press House Gallery. That's press sitting there taking notes and writing their articles.
And I just want to say a second very big congratulations to Team USA. But I have to say that, and I told them this, and we took a vote of the team. I said, anybody votes no, I'm not doing it. So they stood there, and they weren't about to say no, because I've never seen a goaltender play as well as goalie Connor Hellebuck.
And you got one guy sitting there with a mask on, Patrick.
I know. It's incredible.
He doesn't seem too enthused with the gold medal guys standing around him, does he?
Not at all. Not at all.
Think of it, 46 shots on gold, and I asked him, the one shot, the one where you put your stick in the back and it hit the neck of your stick and bounced off, do you practice that, or was that a little lucky? He refused to answer that question. But I just want to tell you that the members of this great hockey squad will be very happy to hear, based on their vote and my vote, and in this case my vote was more important, that I will soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which we will be given and which has been given to many athletes over the years. But when I say many, not too many, like 12, it's called the highest civilian honor in our country, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Great athletes have gotten that, very great, the best, and I thought he deserved it. And I did take a vote, every single one of them. I said, I'm not giving it if anybody goes no, and every single one of them rapidly put up their hand. So I want to thank you all. What a special job you did. What special champions you are. Thank you very much. I'm also pleased to say that the next time the Olympic torch is lit, it will be here in America for the 2028 Olympics, and it's the summer version right in Los Angeles. We're going to do a good job in Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is going to be safe, just like Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities in the country. And this year, and I must say I got them both. I got them in my first term, and I was disappointed because I didn't think I'd be the president when this happened. But strange things took place. And now I've got them because I got the Olympics and I got the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And I wanted to claim the 250th, but I didn't get away with that one. I couldn't claim that one for myself. But we're getting the World Cup. So we have the World Cup and the Olympics coming. And that is exciting news.
And of course, the World Cup is going to be attended by millions. And they are going to have super tight security for all of these big events coming. We'll be doing programming on that.
Buddy Taggart. At age 17, Buddy volunteered to defend America in World War II, serving in the Pacific under the great General Douglas MacArthur. He fought bravely in the famous Battle of Manila, worked so hard. He was badly wounded and almost killed by enemy machine guns in Luzon. And 81 years ago this month, he liberated the largest internment camp in the Philippines, one of the largest anywhere in the world. But he earned many honors, including a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star, came home, started a family, and tonight he is in the gallery looking forward to July 4th, 2026, his 100th birthday.
He's looking really good for almost 100, isn't he, Patrick?
Yes, indeed.
Good
Looks
for
like
him.
he was in the Navy.
Good for him.
There's lots of stripes on his cuff.
sitting next to the second lady.
So, buddy, you're a brave man, and we salute you. Even in times of challenge, setback, and immense heartache, the spirit of 1776 has always shone through very brightly. It was July 4th of last year when floodwaters tore through a girls' summer camp in Central Texas. One of the worst things I've ever seen. I was there, rising 26 feet in the matter of minutes, tragically claiming many, many lives. You all remember that one. As the waters threatened to sweep her away, 11-year-old Millie Kate McClelland closed her eyes and prayed to God. She thought she was going to die. Those prayers were answered when Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin descended from a helicopter above. Nobody knew where he came from. It was Scott's first ever rescue mission, a young guy, but very brave, very, very top, always top in his class. And he lifted not just Millie Kate, but 164 others to safety. People watched Scott from a distance, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. The winds were blowing, the rain was pouring, everything was going, and that rapid water, nobody's ever seen anything like it. They said, wow, that's something. Tonight, Scott and Millie Kate are here together, reunited for the very first time. Thank you, Scott, Millie Kate.
Of course, this is a tradition of calling out American citizens doing great things, started by Ronald Reagan. It's a great tradition. I love it. I'm sure you do too, Patrick.
Absolutely. Very, very much.
Showing the best of America. Americans doing great things. I remember Reagan showing the gentleman that jumped into the Potomac after the airplane crashed on the bridge there in D.C. Remember that?
Yeah. Wow.
Extraordinary heroism, which is what it was. Extraordinary heroism. Thank you.
Oh, wow. He got a medal right there.
Nice. Very nice.
And I'd like to have the military aide to please come down and take care of the service. Military aide, thank you very much. Take care of that very important service. Thank you very much. From 1776 to today, every generation of Americans has stepped forward to defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they're really doing it for the next generation. But now it's our turn. Together, we're building a nation where every child has the chance to reach higher and go further, where government answers to the people, not the powerful, and where the interests of hardworking American citizens are always our first and ultimate concern. That is the debt we owe to the heroes who came before us, and that is the promise we must keep to America for our 250th year. Last year, I urged this Congress to begin the mission by passing the largest tax cuts in American history, and our Republican majorities delivered so beautifully. Thank you, Republicans.
And that is a big deal. And though there was question whether he would win and that would be done and continue, can you imagine the mess we'd be in economically if those cuts had not taken? I think 2026 has the potential to see some good economic signs, partly due to that right there.
These really important and very necessary, massive tax cuts.
I guess the Democrats don't like that?
Nope.
They wanted large-scale tax increases to hurt the people instead. But we held strong, and with the great, big, beautiful bill, we gave you no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And we also made interest on auto loans tax deductible the first time, but only if the car is made in America. Recently in Pennsylvania, I met Megan Hemhauser, a devoted mom who's homeschools her children. Beautiful, 2 children, during the day while waiting tables at night as her husband works overtime operating very heavy equipment. Megan is here this evening and she's happy to tell you that she is so much richer because with no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and her expanded child tax credit done again by Republicans, Megan and her husband will take home more than $5,000 extra just for the year, cutting her tax bill in more than half.
Well, I appreciate him, as I know you do, highlighting a homeschool family because that's at the root of religious and parental authority.
Totally it is, yeah. Wow, very good, very nice.
Thank you, Megan. We're fighting for you, Megan. Under our bill, parents like Megan can also activate their children's brand new Trump accounts. And I didn't name it. I did not name that. Nobody believes me, but I did not name it. It was named by a very tall man standing right there in the third row.
I'm guessing that's the Secretary of the Treasury.
Tax-free investment accounts for every American child. This is something that's so special and has taken off and gone through the roof. Millions will be pre-funded courtesy of the U.S. Treasury and private individuals like Michael and Susan Dell, who have donated $6.25 billion to fund the Trump accounts for 25 million American children. They're great people.
Wow, that's huge.
That'd be the Dell from Dell Computers, $6 billion.
You know, I asked Michael Dell, how do you make all that money? He said, well, I just sat on my dorm in school, and I made computers, and I'd sell them to people. And I just kept selling and selling and selling, and pretty amazing story. That's called the American dream. He sold a lot of computers, a lot of those laptops, so I congratulate him on that, but I really thank him and Susan, as well as others like Brad Gerstner, a very tremendous guy. He was behind it right from the beginning. Brad Gerstner. Thank you, Brad. So with modest additional contributions, these young people's accounts could grow to over $100,000 or more by the time they turn 18. Think of it. How much money is that for somebody that started with nothing? Over 100,000, could be much more than that. To make this investment in our children's future, go to TrumpAccounts.gov, TrumpAccounts.gov. And a lot of people are doing it. It's setting every record in the book. It's popular. They knew what it was going to take. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of the people that got it started. And now it's just taken off. One of the primary reasons for our country's stunning economic turnaround, the biggest in history, where the Dow Jones broke 50,000 4 years ahead of schedule, and the S&P hit 7,000, where it wasn't supposed to do it for many years, were tariffs. I used these tariffs, took in hundreds of billions of dollars to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis. Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. They were ripping us so badly, you all know that. Everybody knows it. Even the Democrats know it. They just don't want to say it. And yet these countries are now happy, and so are we. We made deals. The deals are all done. And they're happy. They're not making money like they used to, but we're making a lot of money. There was no inflation, tremendous growth, and the big story was how Donald Trump called the economy correctly, and 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics didn't. They got it totally wrong. They got it really wrong. And then just 4 days ago, an unfortunate ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down. Very unfortunate ruling. But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful country-saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace-protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time-tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love.
Well, there you go. We've heard a lot about that, Patrick. Love to see it, wouldn't you? The end of the IRS?
Yes, it would be wonderful. However, we still have to raise money to make government work.
Jobs, investment, and trillions of dollars will continue pouring into the United States of America because we finally have a president who puts America first. I put America first. I love America. For decades before I came along, we had the exact opposite. From trade to healthcare, from energy to immigration, everything was stolen and rigged in order to drain the wealth out of the productive, hardworking people who make our country great, who make our country run. Under Biden and his corrupt partners in Congress and beyond, it reached a breaking point with the Green New scam, open borders for everyone. They poured in by the millions and millions from prisons, from mental institutions. They were murderers, 11,888 murders. They came into our country. You allowed that to happen. And record-setting inflation that cost the typical family $34,000 in just a speck of time. Now the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word. They just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem. They knew their statements were a lie. They knew it. They knew their statements were a dirty, rotten lie. Their policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. We are doing really well. Those prices are plummeting downward. The price of eggs is down 60%, Madam Secretary, thank you. The cost of chicken, butter, fruit, hotels, automobiles, rent is lower today than when I took office by a lot. And even beef, which was very high, is starting to come down significantly. Just hold on a little while. We're getting it down. And soon you will see numbers that few people would think were possible to achieve just a short time ago. Nobody can believe when they see the kind of numbers, and especially energy, when they see energy going down to numbers like that, they cannot believe it. It's like another big tax cut. I'm also confronting one of the biggest ripoffs of our times, the crushing cost of health care caused by you. Since the passage of the Unaffordable Care Act, sometimes referred to as Obamacare, big insurance companies have gotten rich. It was meant for the insurance companies, not for the people. With our government giving them hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars a year as their stock prices soared 1,000, 1,200, 1,400, and even 1,700%, like nothing else. That's why I introduced the great health care plan. I want to stop all payments to big insurance companies and instead give that money directly to the people so they can buy their own health care, which will be better health care at a much lower cost. In addition, my plan requires maximum price transparency. That's a big deal. Sounds so simple, so big. And I did that in my first term, and the Democrats immediately terminated it with full knowledge that they were doing a very bad thing for the people. Costs were going to go way up, and that's what happened, and now I'm bringing them way down on health care and everything else. I'm also ending the wildly inflated cost of prescription drugs like has never happened before. Other presidents tried to do it, but they never could. They tried. Most didn't try, actually. But they tried. They said they tried. They couldn't do it. They didn't even come close. They were all talk and no action, but I got it done. Under my just enacted most favored nation agreements, Americans who have for decades paid by far the highest prices of any nation anywhere in the world for prescription drugs will now pay the lowest price anywhere in the world for drugs. Anywhere, the lowest price. So in my first year of the second term, should be my third term, but strange things happen. I took prescription drugs, a very big part of health care, from the highest price in the entire world to the lowest. That's a big achievement. The result is price differences of 300, 400, 500, 600% and more. All available right now at a new website called TrumpRx.gov. And I didn't name that one either, by the way. And here tonight is the very first customer ever to get that big discount, and it is big, Catherine Rayner. For 5 years, she and her husband have struggled with infertility, and they turned to IVF. One drug has been costing Catherine $4,000 to purchase. But a few weeks ago, she logged onto the Trump RX website and got that same drug that cost $4,000, got it for under $500, a reduction of much more, actually, than $3,500. Catherine, we are all praying for you, and you're going to be a great mom. So now I'm calling on Congress to codify my most favored nation program into law. Now, the one thing, I'm not sure it matters because it's going to be very hard for somebody that comes along after me to say, let's raise drug prices by 700 or 800%. But John and Mike, if you don't mind, codify it anyway. They may do it. Codify it anyway. Thank you. Many Americans are also concerned that energy demand from AI data centers could unfairly drive up their electric utility bills. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce that I have negotiated the new Ratepayer Protection Pledge. You know what that is? We're telling the major tech companies that they have the obligation to provide for their own power needs. They can build their own power plants as part of their factory so that no one's prices will go up. And in many cases, prices of electricity will go down for the community, and very substantially down. This is a unique strategy never used in this country before. We have an old grid. It could never handle the kind of numbers, the amount of electricity that's needed. So I'm telling them they can build their own plant. They're going to produce their own electricity. It will ensure the company's ability to get electricity while at the same time lowering prices of electricity for you, and could be very substantial for all of you cities and towns. You're going to see some good things happen over the next number of years. Another pillar of the American dream that has been under attack is home ownership. With us tonight is Rachel Wiggins, a mom of two from Houston. She placed bids on 20 homes and lost all of those bids to gigantic investment firms that bypassed inspection, paid all cash, and turned those houses into rentals, stealing away her American dream. She was devastated. Stories like this are why last month I signed executive order to ban large Wall Street investment firms from buying up in the thousands single-family homes. And now I'm asking Congress to make that ban permanent, because homes for people, really, that's what we want. We want homes for people, not for corporations. Corporations are doing just fine. Rachel, thank you very much. Good luck with your home. You'll get one soon. We're also working to make it easier for Americans to save for retirement. And under this administration, we will always protect Social Security and Medicare. They are not protecting it for our seniors. We will always protect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Since I took office, the typical 401k balance is up by at least $30,000. That's a lot of money. We have millions and millions of people, because the stock market has done so well, setting all those records. Your 401ks are way up. Yet half of all of working Americans still do not have access to a retirement plan with matching contributions from an employer. To remedy this gross disparity, I'm announcing that next year my administration will give these often forgotten American workers, great people, the people that built our country, access to the same type of retirement plan offered to every federal worker. We will match your contribution with up to $1,000 each year. As we ensure that all Americans can profit from a rising stock market, let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information. They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she's here? Doubt it. Pass the Stop Insider Trading Act without delay. I wasn't sure if anybody, even on this side, was going to applaud for that. I'm very impressed. Thank you. I'm very impressed. But when it comes to the corruption that is plundering, it's plundering America. there's been no more stunning example than Minnesota, where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the American taxpayer. Oh, we have all the information. And in actuality, the number is much higher than that. And California, Massachusetts, Maine, and many other states are even worse. This is the kind of corruption that shreds the fabric of a nation, and we are working on it like you wouldn't believe. So tonight, although started 4 months ago, I am officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. He'll get it done. And we're able to find enough of that fraud. We will actually have a balanced budget overnight. It'll go very quickly. That's the kind of money you're talking about. We'll balance our budget. The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where corruption and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings those problems right here to the USA. And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime. We will take care of this problem. We're going to take care of this problem. We are not playing games. Delilah. Delilah Coleman was only 5 years old in June 2024 when a 18-wheel tractor trailer plowed into her stopped car traveling at 60 miles an hour or more. The driver was an illegal alien let in by Joe Biden and given a commercial driver's license by open borders politicians in California. Doctors said Delilah would never be able to walk or talk, have a good life. She wouldn't even be able to eat again. But against all odds, she is now in the first grade learning to walk. And she's here this evening with her dad, Marcus, a fantastic man. Delilah, please, you are a great inspiration. Please stand up. Thank you, Delilah. Many, if not most, illegal aliens do not speak English and cannot read even the most basic road signs as to direction, speed, danger, or location. That's why tonight I'm calling on Congress to pass what we will call the Delilah Law, barring any state from granting commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
And we're all for that. And we actually broke that story with American truckers right here on Worldview Tube, which then picked up the attention of Fox News and the Secretary of Transportation. So again, the American truckers, their leader was on here last week saying, Worldview Tube, you guys helped us break this story. So there you go. We're glad to see that's now made it into the President's State of the Union address.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Angel moms and families that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored. It was terrible. Hard to believe, actually. In 2023, a 16-year-old high school cheerleader named Elizabeth Medina was supposed to perform in her town's Christmas parade, but she never arrived. Her mother, Jacqueline, went home to look for her, and she found her lying dead in a bathtub, bleeding profusely after being stabbed 25 times. Elizabeth's killer was a previously arrested illegal alien who had broken in and really just brutally extinguished the brightest light in her family's life, violently and viciously. Her heartbroken mother is in the gallery to remind everyone in this chamber exactly why we are deporting illegal alien criminals to our country at record numbers, and we're getting them the hell out of here fast. We don't want them. Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Thank you. We can never forget that many in this room not only allowed the border invasion to happen before I got involved, but indeed they would do it all over again if they ever had the chance. If they ever got elected, they would open up those borders to some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world. The only thing standing between Americans and a wide open border right now is President Donald J. Trump and our great Republican patriots in Congress. Thank you. Thank you.
That is 100% accurate, isn't it, Patrick?
It is, actually. Yes, indeed.
You're in Arizona. You know this all too well.
Oh, yes, I do.
Democrats in this chamber have cut off all funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It's all cut off. It's all cut off. They have instituted another Democrat shutdown, the first one costing us 2 points on GDP. 2 points we lost on GDP, which probably made them quite happy, actually. Now they have closed the agency responsible for protecting Americans from terrorists and murderers. Tonight I'm demanding the full and immediate restoration of all funding for the border security, Homeland Security of the United States, and also for helping people clean up their snow. We have no money because of the Democrats, and it would be nice. We'd love to give you a hand at cleaning it up, but you gave no money. Nobody's getting paid. It's a shame. So you have to think about it. We have, in case you didn't know, a pretty large snowstorm out there. One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. So tonight, I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
100%. That's Romans chapter 13 right there. And everybody should take note of who is still sitting down. I mean, that is the basic purpose of government. Reward the righteous, punish the wicked. Romans 13, and they don't even believe that.
A lot of them don't. Wow. Just wow. Just wow.
You and I know that globalists, the whole globalists don't want closed borders.
That's right.
I mean, this is what really a Make America Great and America First is about. Borders, language, culture, as Michael Savage has said for decades. And these people are not for stopping the illegals after he just told everybody how many they're killing with trucks, and a young lady stabbed 25 times and murdered. And they still didn't stand up.
You have very hard hearts, for sure.
Wow. These people are lawless. They are absolutely lawless, those sitting down. That is the purpose and function of government and a lawful society that protects its citizens, its children, its elderly. That was very good, President Trump. Very good.
He set the trap for them.
He did he not?
Fell
You
into
should be
it.
ashamed of yourself not
Yes.
standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Absolutely. Look at that. Mike Johnson was prepared to grab the mic and sound the gavel. He's doing an excellent job. I wish he would have just started with this. Because this is something that polls very well across all parties, Patrick.
It should.
And I hope that enough people stay tuned to have heard this.
And perhaps most importantly, I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act.
And that's the bill that would require proof of ID for voting, of which Bendani, the mayor of New York, just required 2 proofs of identity to be hired to shovel snow, but not to vote, Patrick.
For unpermitted persons from voting in our sacred American elections. That cheating is rampant in our elections. It's rampant. It's very simple. All voters must show voter ID.
I hope they show the crowd again. Let's look how many are sitting down for that one, too.
Oh, yeah.
They want illegals to vote.
Yeah.
All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote.
Yeah.
And no more crooked mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. None. And this should be an easy one. And by the way, it's polling at 89%, including Democrats. 89%.
There you go. That's exactly right. And look at them all sitting down on the right, which is really the left.
And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually. Speak to him a lot. Bad policy, but nice guy. Just said they want people to shovel snow. They got hit hard. Wants them to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a Social Security card. Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No, it's no good. No good. Both Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly agree on the policy that we just enunciated. And Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens.
Absolutely. They better get rid of the filibuster on the Senate side and get this done.
And the reason they don't want to do it, why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason. They make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things you almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat. They have cheated. And their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat. And we're going to stop it. We have to stop it, John.
That John was Senator John Thune, who needs to pull the filibuster bill so they get this thing through, the filibuster rule, so they can go to cloture and
here is one
vote.
more opportunity to show common sense in government. In the gallery tonight are Sage Blair and her mother, Michelle. In 2021, Sage was 14 when school officials in Virginia sought to socially transition her to a new gender, treating her as a boy and hiding it from her parents. Hard to believe, isn't it? Before long, a confused Sage ran away from home after she was found in a horrific situation in Maryland. A left-wing judge refused to return Sage to her parents because they did not immediately state that their daughter was their son. Sage was thrown into an all-boys state home and suffered terribly for a long time. But today, all of that is behind them because Sage is a proud and wonderful young woman with a full-ride scholarship to Liberty University. Sage and Michelle, please stand up.
Wow, Liberty University, a Christian university. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Standing strong for parental authority again with this and calling this out. Good for him.
And thank you for your great bravery. And who can believe that we're even speaking about things like this? 15 years ago, if somebody was up here and said that, they'd say, what's wrong with him? But now we have to say it because it's going on all over numerous states without even telling the parents. But surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents' arms and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will. Who would believe that we're even talking about this? We must ban it, and we must ban it immediately. Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
Wow, that is a great line. That is a good for him.
Amazing. Incredible. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? Huh? No one cares more about protecting America's youth than our wonderful First Lady, now a movie star. She's a movie star. Can you believe it? Who would have believed that? Over the past year, she has had an incredible impact championing AI legislation, advancing a landmark executive order on foster care, and helping secure $30 million to launch the Melania Trump Foster Youth to Independence Initiative. It's a tremendous, really a tremendous thing that happened and had a lot of bipartisan support. She gets much better bipartisan support than I do. I get none. She gets a lot. Someday you're going to have to tell me how you did that. And students and educators in every state have joined the First Lady's efforts in the presidential AI challenge, keeping America's next generation positioned to succeed and strongly succeed in the future. Tonight, we welcome two young people whose lives reflect the First Lady's impact, Sierra Burns and Everest Nevermont. Thank you both, and Melania, thank you. I know how hard you worked on it. Thank you very much.
That's a piece of legislation, for those who don't know, to stop using AI, to prosecute people who use AI for making images of individuals, and oftentimes, illicit photos, or photos in a very, very destructive way to target someone like a
I'm very
child.
proud to say that during my time in office, both the first 4 years and in particular this last year, there has been a tremendous renewal in religion, faith, Christianity, and belief in God. Tremendous renewal. This is especially true among young people, and a big part of that had to do with my great friend, Charlie Kirk, a great guy, great man. So last year, Charlie was violently murdered by an assassin and martyred, really martyred for his beliefs. His wonderful wife, Erica, is with us tonight. Erica, please stand. Thank you, Erica. Been through a lot. In Charlie's memory, we must all come together to reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence of any kind. We love religion, and we love bringing it back, and it's coming back at levels that nobody actually thought possible. It's really a beautiful thing to see. Above all, unleashing America's promise requires keeping our communities safe. We have made incredible strides, yet dangerous repeat offenders continue to be released by pro-crime Democrat politicians again and again. We are honored to be joined tonight by a woman who's been through hell, Anya Zarutska. In 2022, she and her beautiful daughter, so beautiful, what a beautiful young woman, Irina, fled war-torn Ukraine to live with relatives near Charlotte, North Carolina. And by the way, what's going on with Charlotte? Last summer, 23-year-old Irina was riding home on the train when a deranged monster who had been arrested over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail, stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget. There were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker in the last seconds of her life. She died instantly. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, came in through open borders. Mrs. Zarutska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina. How do you not stand? How do you not stand? I'm asking this Congress to pass tough legislation to ensure that violent and dangerous repeat offenders are put behind bars, and importantly, that they stay there. Starting last summer, I deployed our National Guard and federal law enforcement to restore law and order to our most dangerous cities, including Memphis, Tennessee, big success, New Orleans, Louisiana, big success, and our nation's capital itself, Washington, D.C., where we have almost no crime anymore in Washington, D.C. How did that happen?
Well, he's right about Minnesota. The crime is down. I mean, absolutely.
In fact,
down.
crime in Washington is now at the lowest
About Memphis,
level
I should
ever
say.
recorded. And
Down in
murders
Memphis.
in D.C. this January, we're down close to 100% from a year ago. They don't like to hear that. One of the brave service members
He just called them
who helped
sick
achieve
people,
this
didn't he?
stunning turnaround was 20-year-old West Virginia Army National Guard Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. After a 4-month deployment, she voluntarily extended her service, and her rank was going to be lifted. She was doing so well. They were so proud of her. But the very next day, she was on patrol near the White House when she was ambushed and shot in the head by a terrorist monster from Afghanistan. Shouldn't have been in our country. And all because she wore the uniform of our nation, she was shot. He traveled here because he didn't like people wearing our uniform. He was sick and deranged, shouldn't have been in our country. Sarah Beckstrom died in order to defend our capital, and we are honored to be joined by her wonderful parents, Gary and Eva Lee. Your daughter was a true American patriot, and she will be greatly missed. She was a great person. I saw reports on her. They've never seen anything like it. So sorry. Thank you very much. She's a great young lady. I saw reports that were like, perfect. She was perfect. Serving alongside Sarah that day was Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf. The terrorist shot Andrew in the head, and no one thought he could possibly make it. The two of them, Sarah and Andrew, both shot violently in the head. Neither was expected to make it. They weren't even given a chance, except his wonderful mother, named Melody, who I spoke to the same night, and she was so positive. The doctors thought that Andrew was gone, but his mother said, no, Mr. President, Andrew will be fine. He's going to make it. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, he was given almost no chance. She said, I have no doubt, sir, he's going to be okay. This was a conversation that I had with her that night, with her son laying helplessly in bed, blood all over. Everybody is praying, she said, sir, he will be okay. The doctors didn't understand what she was saying, and after looking at the results of the damage done, neither did I. She was so strong and conclusive that even Andrew's great father felt she didn't really understand the gravity of the situation. But she turned out to be right. Right, Melody? She turned out to be right.
And that is him right there. Wow. Incredible.
Amazing, actually. I said, where does this woman come from? She's the most positive person I've ever met. With God's help, Andrew has battled back from the edge of death, and we're talking about the edge of death, on his way to a miraculous recovery. He's got a little work to do, but he's doing great. Nice to see you. He's a good-looking guy. Nice to see you. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you very much. So, Andrew, while you're up, now I'm going to ask a highly respected General James Seward to present Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf and the great family of Sarah Beckstrom with the award created by our late, great President George Washington himself. It's called the Purple Heart. We love you all. Love you. We're proudly restoring safety for Americans at home, and we are also restoring security for Americans abroad. Our country has never been stronger. My first 10 months, I ended 8 wars, including Cambodia. Isn't it funny? Sick people. Cambodia and Thailand, Pakistan and India. Would have been a nuclear war. 35 million people said the Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my involvement. Kosovo and Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Congo and Rwanda, and of course the war in Gaza, which proceeds at a very low level. It's just about there. And I want to thank Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner for your help. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jared. And I also want to thank the man they report to, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Thank you, Marco. People are like you. You know, Marco got 100% of the votes when he was in confirmation. I think our next one was about 54%. And some of the Democrats are now saying, I can't believe we approved that guy. And he said it's an honor that they feel that way, right, Marco? You have done a great job, great Secretary of State. I think he'll go down as the best ever. Under the ceasefire I negotiated, every single hostage, both living and dead, has been returned home. Can you believe that? Nobody thought it was possible. Nobody thought that was possible. Both living and dead. And those parents who had a dead son, their boy, they'd always tell me their boy, they wanted him as much as though he were living. It was an amazing period of time. And they came back, and when we got all of the living hostages back, and many, many before them, but I always said those last 20 are going to be very tough, but we got many, many more, hundreds. But I said those last 20 are going to be tough. We got them back. But we only got back 14 or 15 of the dead, of the 28. And believe it or not, Hamas worked along with Israel, and they dug and they dug and they dug. It's a tough thing to do, going through bodies all over, passing up 100 bodies sometimes for each one that they found. Tough job. And they finally got it back to 27. And then Steve and Jared, they got it back to 28. They found all 28. Nobody thought that was possible, but we did it. And I remember the family of the 28th. They were so grieved, but they were so happy as it's possible to be. They had their boy back. The mother said, "Sir, we have our boy back." What a period of time that was, but we got them all back. So thank you both very much. Great job. And we're working very hard to end the 9th war, the killing and slaughter between Russia and Ukraine, where 25,000 soldiers are dying each and every month. Think of that, 25,000 soldiers are dying a month. A war which would have never happened if I were president, would have never happened. As president, I will make peace wherever I can, but I will never hesitate to confront threats to America wherever we must. That's why in a breakthrough operation last June, the United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with an attack on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer. Good. For decades, it had been the policy of the United States never to allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Many decades. Since they seized control of that proud nation 47 years ago, the regime and its murderous proxies have spread nothing but terrorism and death and hate. They've killed and maimed thousands of American service members and hundreds of thousands and even millions of people with what's called roadside bombs. They were the kings of the roadside bomb. And we took out Soleimani. I did that during my first term. Had a huge impact. He was the father of the roadside bomb. And just over the last couple of months with the protests, they've killed at least, it looks like, 32,000 protesters. 32,000 protesters in their own country. They shot them and hung them. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue. They're starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen. And no nation should ever doubt America's resolve. We have the most powerful military on earth. I rebuilt the military in my first term. We're going to continue to do so. Also, we just approved a $1 trillion budget. We have no choice. We have to be strong because hopefully we will seldom have to use this great power that we built together. It's really called peace through strength, and it's been very, very effective. So thanks to Republicans in Congress, we're investing that record number of dollars, have no choice, in the United States Armed Forces. Also creating a lot of jobs, but we're not even doing it for that reason. Because as I said, we have more jobs, more people working today than ever before in the history of our country. And NATO countries are friends and allies. They are. They're our friends and they're our allies. Have just agreed at my very strong request to pay 5% of GDP for military defense rather than the 2%, which they weren't paying. We were paying for almost all of NATO. Now they're paying 5 as opposed to not paying 2. And getting that 5% was something which everyone said would never be done, could not happen. We got it really easily with one meeting. And big difference between 2% that's not paid. We were paying the freight of many of them. Very few were paid up. Now 5%, then they're paid. And everything we send over to Ukraine is sent through NATO, and they pay us in full. They pay us totally in full. Every branch of our armed forces is setting records for recruitment. This is so exciting. and every service member recently. And every service member recently received a warrior dividend of $1,776. You know, they put it on my desk. We got the money from tariffs and other things, a lot of money we have. We have much more money than people understand. Have to rebuild that program a little bit, but it won't take long. But we got the money, and it was $1,775, and they wanted my approval. And I said, what's the number? $1,775. I said, wait a minute, for one more dollar, we can have $1,776. It's going to I said, we're going to figure that. I never asked anybody if we could afford it. One more dollar, I said $1,776. And I said, that's good. And I'll tell you what, our military, that was 4 months ago, our military, I never see a person in the military that doesn't thank me for it, so we're honored to do it. They deserve it. And we call it 1776. It was great. And we love our military. We love our law enforcement. We love our firemen. You know, the firemen don't get mentioned enough. We love our firemen. We're also restoring American security and dominance in the Western Hemisphere, acting to secure our national interests and defend our country from violence, drugs, terrorism, and foreign interference. For years, large swaths of territory in our region, including large parts of Mexico, really large parts of Mexico, have been controlled by murderous drug cartels. That's why I designated these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and I declared illicit fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. And with our new military campaign, we have stopped record amounts of drugs coming into our country and virtually stopped it completely coming in by water or sea. You probably noticed that. We very seriously damaged their fishing industry also. Nobody wants to go fishing anymore. We've also taken down one of the most sinister cartel kingpins of all. You saw that yesterday. In January, elite American warriors carried out one of the most complex, spectacular feats of military competence and power in world history. No one's seen anything like it. Foreign leaders, I won't tell you who, called me and they said, very impressive, very good. They couldn't believe, they all watched, they saw what happened. This is a different fighting force that we had years ago when we fought to tie. You know, it's a great fighting force. I'm so proud of it. Look at Space Force. Space Force is my baby, because we did that. My baby is becoming so important. And America's armed forces overwhelmed all defenses and utterly defeated an enemy, good fighters, to end the reign of outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro and bring him to face American justice. And this was an absolutely colossal victory for the security of the United States, and it also opens up a bright new beginning for the people of Venezuela. We're working closely with the new president of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, to unleash extraordinary economic gains for both of our countries and to bring new hope to those who have suffered so terribly. They really did suffer. With us tonight is Alejandro Gonzalez, she grew up in a tight-knit Venezuelan family and was especially close to her beloved uncle Enrique. But after Enrique ran for office and opposed Maduro, he was kidnapped by Maduro's security forces and thrown into the regime's really infamous prison in Caracas. Alejandro feared she would never see her uncle again. She feared for her own life also. But since the raid, we have worked with the new leadership, and they have ordered the closure of that vile prison and released hundreds of political prisoners already, with more to come. Alejandro, I'm pleased to inform you that not only has your uncle been released, but he is here tonight. We brought him over to celebrate his freedom with you in person. Enrique, please come down. Thank you, Enrique. Have a good time. Nice to have you back, Enrique. There were many heroes on that January raid to capture Maduro, really great heroes. It was very dangerous. They knew we were coming. They were all set. But the deeds of one warrior that night will live forever in the eternal chronicles of military valor. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Eric Slover, planned the mission and was the flight lead in the cockpit of the first helicopter, a big, beautiful, powerful helicopter. It was a massive Chinook carrying, as you can imagine, many, many American warfighters. Wearing the dog tags his wife Amy had blessed with holy water before he left. She knew it was going to be a rough one. Eric steered the Chinook under the cover of night and descended swiftly upon Maduro's heavily protected military fortress. This was a major military installation, protected by thousands of soldiers and guarded by Russian and Chinese military technology. How did that work out? Not too good. While preparing to land, enemy machine guns fired from every angle, and Eric was hit very badly in the leg and hip, one bullet after another. He absorbed 4 agonizing shots, shredding his leg into numerous pieces. And yet, despite the fact that the use of his legs was vital to successful helicopter flight, legs are the most important part of flying a helicopter, to deliver the many commandos who would capture and detain Maduro was the only thing Eric was thinking about. Then, even as he was gushing blood, which was flowing back down the aisle, helicopter lands at a steep angle. The machine gun stood right in front of him. They were right in front of him, 2 machine gunners who escaped the wrath of the previous planes. Eric maneuvered his helicopter with all of those lives and souls to face the enemy and let his gunners eliminate the threat. Turned the helicopter around so the gunners could take care of business, saving the lives of his fellow warriors from what could have been a catastrophic crash deep in enemy territory. Only after safely landing the helicopter with all the warriors aboard in the exact right spot, which was vital to the mission. We probably would have had to maybe cancel the mission if that didn't happen. Eric told his co-pilot, also wounded, but not as gravely, to take over. I'm about ready to pass out. The success of the entire mission and the lives of his fellow warriors hinge on Eric's ability to take the searing pain. It was unbelievable what's happened to his legs of the bullets and keep on flying and landing and People knew what was happening. Everybody in the back of the helicopter knew because they saw the blood pouring down the aisle. Chief Warrant Officer Slover is still recovering from his serious wounds, but I'm thrilled to say that he is here tonight with his wife, Amy, Eric, and Amy. Come on in. So we have a surprise for Eric and Amy. In recognition of Eric's actions above and beyond the call of duty, I would now like to ask General Jonathan Braga to present Chief Warrant Officer Slover with our nation's highest military award, the Congressional Medal of Honor. Well, thank you very much, Eric and Amy. Great to get to know you. I met with them and with a lot of their fellow warriors at Fort Bragg recently. You notice the name Fort Bragg, we have it back, we brought it back. We won the First World War with it, the Second World War with it, and then they decided to change the name. So we changed it back. Everybody wanted to change back too. And 10 of Eric's fellow warriors from that incredible night of victory will also be receiving medals at a private ceremony that will soon be held at the White House, and Eric will be there. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. That's a big one. Tonight we've celebrated many truly extraordinary American patriots, but there is one last living legend to honor before we go. He is one more heroic American aviator, Navy fighter pilot. Royce Williams served in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, flying more than 220 missions. In the skies over Korea in 1952, Royce was in the dogfight of a lifetime, legendary dogfight. Flying through blizzard conditions, his squadron was ambushed by 7 Soviet fighter planes. It was his first aerial combat of the war, and despite being massively outnumbered and outgunned, Royce led the takedown of 4 enemy jets and almost destroyed the others, vanquishing his adversaries while taking 263 bullets to his own plane and being seriously hurt. His story was secret for over 50 years. He didn't even want to tell his wife, but the legend grew and grew. But tonight, at 100 years old, this brave Navy captain is finally getting the recognition he deserves. He was a legend long before this evening. Royce, please stand up, and I will ask the First Lady of the United States to present Captain Royce Williams with his Congressional Medal of Honor.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable, Patrick, isn't it? I don't think I've seen a president ever bring out so many human interest stories about America and Americans, ever.
I haven't either. This is really amazing. He's honored the military all along the way, for sure.
Flying in World War II, Korea and
War.
Vietnam. Amazing.
Yep. Wow. And he's still standing.
And he's still with us.
I know.
Wow. He looks good in the uniform, too.
Yes, indeed. What an honor for him and his family. Look how tall
Barron is.
Barron, yeah.
He is big,
Amazing.
isn't he?
Big strapping kid, for sure.
I think this is the longest applause of the night, other than the president,
It is.
and rightfully so. You know, your heart really grieves for those parents in the back whose daughter didn't make it. They got their Purple Heart. The gentleman who survived got his, but man, you just feel for that mom and dad up there.
Royce, and thank you, Eric.
Totally.
I've always wanted the Congressional Medal of Honor, but I was informed I'm not allowed to give it to myself, and I wouldn't know why I'd be taking it, but if they ever open up that law, I will be there with you someday. But you know, that's our highest honor, Congressional Medal of Honor, and that's a big thing, and it's an honor to be in the same room with you. Thank you both very much, Eric. Thank you. Thank you. 250 years is a long time in the life of a nation, but in another sense, it's really a mere moment in the eye of history. Two of the gentlemen we met in the gallery this evening took their first breaths 1 century ago, 100 years before that, on July 4th, 1826, the author of the Declaration of Independence, brilliant, Thomas Jefferson, drew his last breath. Just a single long human lifespan separates the giants who declared and won our independence from the heroes who stand among us tonight. Everything our nation has done, everything we have achieved, has been the work of those few great lifetimes. In those brief chapters, Americans built this nation from 13 humble colonies into the pinnacle of human civilization and human freedom, the strongest, wealthiest, most powerful, most successful nation in all of history. Americans ventured out across the daunting and dangerous continent. We carved paths through an unforgiving wilderness, settled a boundless frontier, and tamed the beautiful but very, very dangerous Wild West. From empty marshes and wide open plains, we raised up the world's greatest cities. Together, we mastered the world's mightiest industries and shattered history's monstrous tyrannies. And we liberated millions from the chains of fascism, communism, oppression, and terror. Americans lifted humanity into the skies on the wings of aluminum and steel, and then we launched mankind into the stars on rockets powered by sheer American will and unyielding American pride. We wired the globe with our ingenuity. We captivated the planet with American culture. And now we are pioneering the next great American breakthroughs that will change the entire world. All of this and so much more is the enduring legacy, unmatched glory of the hardworking patriots who built and defended this country and who still carry the hopes and freedoms on all of humanity's backs. For years they were forgotten, betrayed, and cast aside. But that great betrayal is over, and they will never be forgotten again. Because when the world needs courage, daring, vision, and inspiration, it is still turning to America. And when God needs a nation to work his miracles, he knows exactly who to ask. There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome, no frontier too vast for us to conquer, no dream too bold for us to chase, no horizon too distant for us to claim. For our destiny is written by the hand of providence, and these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Patrick, I overall think this was a very good speech. I'll get your thoughts on it. Of course, we've already mentioned some of the things he had said. One of the most viral things going is him calling the Democrats crazy. These people are crazy. You don't want to stand up for that, he said. And indeed, that was about the first responsibility of government, securing our border and keeping Americans safe. They couldn't stand up for that. Something tells me some of this, and I don't know what the rules are, but something says that's going to be made into a campaign commercial for the midterms, because 80% plus across the board want the border secure and want this crime to keep coming down. Even after he had told stories of a woman, young lady being stabbed 25 times and bleeding out in a bathtub. And he said, if you agree with this statement, stand up. The purpose of government, first and foremost, is security and protection of its citizens. And they could not stand up, Patrick.
They're so hard-hearted. It's not even funny. It's really sad that anybody could not have compassion for that. I just don't get it.
That lady right there, she was on the front row, second row, the president's left, right-hand side. She was up and down all night. She's a congresswoman. She's one of his biggest supporters, that's for sure. We see Secretary Bessent, Treasury Secretary, Secretary of War, Pam Bondi, Attorney General, as the coalition helps and the Sergeant of Arms tries to get President Trump up the aisle. What stood out to you? I was taking a lot of notes, but what stood out to you?
Number one, this was a political speech, not an economic speech at all. All of the things he mentioned, starting at the first, the pledge, for instance, to keep, to stop insider trading, that was very popular. The war on fraud, where Vance is going to be heading that effort. The Delilah Act that he wants to get passed to protect young people. He talked about banning the trans movement and the taking of trans kids away from their parents. These are all political topics, and rightly so. I think this is the State of the Union as far as the political state is concerned. But he didn't really, he gave some statistics about economics, gas prices coming down. These are kind of anecdotal things, not policy statements per se. There was no mention about AI, the data centers that was promoted in the first part of the administration. Nothing about the race with China, for instance, to secure the AI. Nothing about new digital currency that's being created. That's an economic issue. So basically, this touched on all of the hot points, politically speaking, and he did a good job of that, I have to say. But and I have to say, he definitely tugged at the heartstrings of America by honoring the right people. They probably do deserve honor on one hand, and I think it made a powerful statement, a political statement, that he was willing to take these people into the court there and give them recognition.
I just saw our buddy Congressman Glenn Grothman of the 6th District of Wisconsin, who's a regular guest on the broadcast, Congressman Glenn Grothman. Basically, what I'm hearing from you, Patrick, is he avoided some more of the controversial topics with a lot of the conservative and constitutionalist and MAGA and America First crowd. He avoided a lot of those topics, but he did really want to highlight the America First agenda. He has been criticized by some of the base by not being enough about America First. I don't even know that I heard much mention, other than getting the hostages back, about Israel. He really seemed to be concentrating and being very disciplined on trying to keep this on America First and showing that in his first year, he has done more than perhaps others have thought, with the overshadowing of international news and foreign policy on America First policy. And I think that was the goal here, was to remind everybody, I have done more than maybe you think I have. Do you agree with that?
Well, he actually has done a number of things that he mentioned, like single family homes, for instance. He stopped the wholesale acquisition of single family homes across America by companies like BlackRock, State Street, et cetera. This is a boon. Well, in the future, I think it will be a boon to people who want to buy a house and they can't find one.
Yes.
We've been conquered, if you will, in Phoenix, Arizona, where these companies just come in and they're buying whole sections of new developments. Even that they want to turn them into rentals, and of course they'll never be on the market after that once they're turned into a rental. But this is a big thing. This resonates with the people as well.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I did a commentary a week or so ago that it's only about, I think, 5% of these companies are buying up real estate for rental. If he really wants to unleash the market, they need to streamline the permitting. Sometimes it can take years or a decade to get some of the permitting through for some of the home projects. They really need to cut back on regulations, bring the tax system down, and just unleash the free market system from all the red tape so they can build more homes. That's for sure. What were the Democrats doing tonight? I don't know who has the Democrat response tonight. I don't even know if it really matters. I mean, who cares to hear what they have to say? They couldn't even stand up for agreeing that the purpose of government is security and protection of the American citizens. But this is not a joke. I had to go out there and verify it while President Trump was speaking. This is what the Democrats were up to during that speech, some of them. Look at this.
Fresh out of an ICE prison in Minneapolis. I've been arrested 3 times by ICE over absurdity, over us being ourselves, over me singing songs like, "Hey, Mr. Tangerine Man, get rid of brown people for me. I'm Aryan white. There ain't no place I'm going to." And then all of a sudden, he's not ready for primetime player ICE agents with 2 weeks of training come after me. I got arrested in Portland. I got arrested in Minneapolis in the last 3 weeks twice but they can't erase a movement. All right?
Wow, I was afraid he's going to have a wardrobe malfunction there. You cannot make this up. I thought this was someone doing parody, and no, this is actually being put out also by the RNC, many other groups. This is what they were up to tonight. Some of the Democrats, Patrick.
It's crazy. Really crazy. You know, I've been at this for a long time. I've been aware of all the political tricks that can be made, and that they have been made. And you want to kind of throw up your hands at all the nonsense that's going on, the political nonsense, because one side wants to protect Americans, keep America safe at least, and economically prosperous. The other spoilers on the other side want to just destroy the whole system. And obviously this can't, a house divided can't stand. And eventually these people on the left wing side of the political spectrum, they're going to destroy America in the end. And unfortunately, most people can't stop it at this point. We've been talking, how long have we been talking about the possibility of civil war in America? A long time.
Yep.
Well, the threat is still there. You can see it even tonight.
You can see it tonight. And the Civil War will be over law and order. It'll be over law and order, the basic function and purpose of government, and protecting citizens versus protecting illegals and rapists and murderers that they seem to think have a right to spill over the border. I mean, it's just... President Trump made a good comment 10, 15 years ago. If someone were talking about protecting parental rights and students from being transitioned without their parents' knowledge in school, he said 10, 15 years ago, you would say, what is this guy talking about? But yet he stood up for parental rights and highlighted that. We did just receive an email from one of our regular viewers. I recognize her name, Sue. She says, a win for truckers tonight in the speech. Another huge thank you to Worldview Tube, alerting President Trump to the illegal alien trucking issue. You made a difference. While watching your show, I immediately asked you to use your platform and voice to get to President Trump. Bravo. My husband and son and I are both on the road driving amongst the unqualified non-English speaking drivers. Now they will be much safer along with all Americans thanks to Worldview Tube taking charge and making a difference. You are bold and one of the few who are unafraid. God bless you, Sue. Well, we did hear about this. Got on Shannon with American Truckers. We had him on again last week, and he again reiterated, you guys were the first national platform with Worldview Tube and your 74 Christian stations to highlight this story. And then from there, when you guys shoved it all over social media, we did this for like 2 days on radio and TV, we're taking phone calls from truckers, it went viral. And then it got picked up because it was seen by Fox News producers and others. And he said, your network is the one that brought this. So I'm only saying that to boast in the network, because folks, you make the network possible. And when we find out and hear things, we use the platform that you guys have helped us build and maintain to do that. And it's interesting and also rewarding to see that made it tonight into the State of the Union. That is now something President Trump is very aware of. Of course, his Secretary of Transportation, Duffy, is, and doing something about it. We do have footage of what was going on with Al Green. It's hard to believe that he would do this, but in one sense, it's Al Green. It's not hard to believe. But yeah, he held up that sign over and over, and several people tried to get him to get it down, quit showing that sign, quit doing that. But he was adamant to bring that in tonight, related to a social media post that had on the end of it something that was very regrettable, but it wasn't done deliberate from what we were told. It was just an oversight, President Trump said, by a staffer who didn't watch the video all the way through. I did notice a few other things before we wrap tonight. He did mention 80 million barrels of oil from Venezuela have come in. He said, we're winning now. That you have come along. That's what someone has told him. Several people have told him now that you've come along, President Trump. We are winning. He mentioned the 2028 Summer Olympics in L.A. Of course, that is going to be a huge deal for us here in the U.S. 81 years ago this month, he mentioned a 100th, I guess 81 years ago this month. What was he highlighting? 181 years ago. was, I think, I don't know what he was highlighting. He was highlighting something when talking about crime. I didn't take a good enough note, but he was talking about crime and the rate of crime being down over at best, the best in 125 years. He did mention the Coast Guard gentleman there that rescued and saved 164 lives at that camp in Texas last year.
That was amazing.
164 lives he saved using a helicopter and swooping down on the end of it to grab people out of trees. Largest tax cuts in American history. He mentioned homeschoolers, defending that homeschool family and giving them a tax break. Let's see what else. Oh, it was interesting to hear him talk about the tariffs and the billions that have been brought in. And he kept mentioning the Supreme Court that were just right there in the front row, a few feet away. But he said they're going to do a fix. They're going to do a fix, and they'll be right back at it, collecting more, billions more in. And he said if they can cut the fraud between the billions in tariffs and cutting fraud, he says we could balance the budget. I don't think we've had a balanced budget since Bill Clinton, right?
I know. Yeah, we haven't at all. You know, it's interesting when we talk about budgets, especially. Our budget is so top heavy with interest right now. The reason that interest rates need to go down, this is what Trump has been trying to do, to get interest rates down, to make it affordable for the United States to pay its bills, basically. Because if interest rates rises, all of our treasury notes, bonds, et cetera, they have to pay more. And we can't afford that.
No, we really can't. And speaking of affording stuff, we've got $6 billion. Excuse me, I'm sorry. He mentioned how much it was. It was $19 billion. $19 billion plundered in Minnesota alone. $19 billion. He kept referring to them as Somali pirates. We need to get rid of this fraud. And if they did, they could balance the budget. As you mentioned, J.D. Vance is now going to lead a panel on finding this fraud, getting rid of this. CDL license only for those who are legal citizens and can read the language and speak the language. He mentioned the Democrats. All they want to do is cheat. They don't want the SAVE Act. They don't want people to have to prove they're American citizen and register to vote, that they're so unpopular. The only way they can win is by cheating. And then we heard from Ilhan Omar. Here's what she had to say. She started heckling the president.
Removal of criminal aliens, in many cases drug lords, murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
And that's Ilhan Omar on the left and Rashida Tlaib on the right from Michigan, who wrapped herself in the Palestinian flag after she won one of her elections several years ago. They're highlighted both in my documentary from 2018, Sabotage. Overall, though, I give him really high marks on this speech because of the fact that he did seem to drive home what was the goal, which was highlight some of his great accomplishments from a domestic standpoint, which is really what Americans care about. They win elections over kitchen table issues. Who was it? Carville that said during the Bill Clinton, George H. Bush race, it's the economy, stupid. It's what impacts the pocketbook, the gas pump, the grocery bill. And he really seemed to be trying to stress the average American that he's trying to restore the economy, but also restore safety. He mentioned the Biden administration letting in, I think the number was 11,888 murderers that were let in. I think the number is much higher than that. I don't know why he picked that number, but he mentioned that number. And of course, again, those all poll really high, 80% among Republicans, Democrats, and independents. But overall, I would say it was a very patriotic and a very America First speech. But like you said, he did not want to get into any of the crypto data centers. He didn't even bring up the International Board of Peace, did he?
No, he did not. That was one glaring deficiency. He talked about peace. He talked a little bit about the United Nations, but he didn't mention anything about the Board of Peace. And also, obliquely, he mentioned energy and the AI data centers. The reference was that he's going to permit or require new data centers to provide their own power systems. And so I don't know what this would means to wipe away regulations to let them do that. But for instance, Elon Musk facility in Memphis, Tennessee, for instance, it's a huge facility. They may be required to provide their own power and not draw power out of the grid. And this is a big issue across America right now with rising prices for utilities, especially electricity and water as well. So that was a nod that we're going to do something about this. If it's too late, too little, who knows? But he meant this is one mention of the AI data centers.
Melissa emailed in, not my Melissa, but one of the Melissas out there that listens to the broadcast. She said, how is President Trump funding the board of directors or the board of peace? I found that Congress has approved. I have not found where Congress has approved $10 billion for Gaza or the board under Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7. Well, it's happening with private money. He's asking these people who sit on the board to pledge $1 billion. Right now, the last figure I saw is $5 billion has already come in. So they've already raised half of it with more to go. So that's how they're doing it to answer the question for Melissa. Would you agree with that? Is that a right answer?
That's right. They haven't specified how that money will be managed, who will be in control of the checkbook. Will they be able to get more money in other words, dues might flow in as well? I don't know. They just really haven't addressed that. But one thing for sure, the money that they're getting right now, $5 billion, they said, like you said, this is unaccountable money. Basically, it's not under the scrutiny of Congress or Europe or the EU. It's just them. And basically, Trump is in charge of that whole thing.
Closing comment.
It was interesting. Like I said, this was a political speech. It wasn't an economic speech at all. I would expect that, I think, for the president right now, because this, he's made economic statements in the past, economic pressers talking about things like the Project Stargate, for instance, when he had all these people like Larry Ellison and Sam Altman coming on the stage, to pump AI. Well, that was an economic thing. That was definitely about AI. He didn't bring that up tonight. I just wouldn't expect it to be brought up. But he said in the past, he said, our race is with China. However, we just have an article on technocracy.news right now, just today, that explains that AI data centers in America are like 3,800 data centers in America versus like 370 in China. We're so far ahead of China right now, it's not even funny. So they're doing a lot, I'm sure, with AI, but they can't even come close to what we've done in America. And people in cities across America are very upset that they've been invaded by these data centers. They never saw it coming. But Trump just mentioned it obliquely, sort of in passing, but he didn't make an issue of it.
How well do you think this speech helped him with the midterms? I mean, it's still a long way away, but I would imagine just grabbing this clip where the Democrats don't want to stand up about protecting American citizens from crime is going to be a powerful clip to play if they'll use it.
It will be if they use it. In the past, and keep in mind, my focus is on technocracy, not politics. However, I've noticed in the past that Republicans are famous for figuring out ways how to lose an election.
That's so true. They are very good at grabbing victory. What's the phrase? Grabbing defeat out of the jaws of victory.
That's right. Yeah. So at this point, it's a horse race for sure. And who knows? Maybe maybe they can pull it out and they maybe keep the House. If they do lose it, it's going to be impeachment time for the president.
Well, and he called him crazy several times tonight. So
yes,
and they are. I mean, how could you not stand up for some of these things? There's no love lost there. That's for sure.
No.
There you go. Patrick is at technocracy.news, technocracy.news. I don't know how long that speech went. Do we know? They were saying it would go over 2 hours. How long did it go?
2 hours and some 5 minutes.
2 hours
like
and 5 minutes. So that does put it at the longest. He held the record for the longest, and now he just beat his own record.
Yes, exactly.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Technocracy.news, technocracy.news. Patrick Wood looking sharp from Arizona tonight with his red tie and that great silver hair. You look like a real statesman, Patrick. And you are a statesman. You don't just look like one. You are. You are really the father of educating people on this whole technocracy, transhumanism, trilateral commission. You've been doing it for 40 plus years, right?
You would think I'd be used to it by now.
And I think you are used to it. Technocracy.news. Thank your lovely wife for letting us steal you away tonight.
I will. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. Patrick Wood, technocracy.news, and he's on Tuesdays and Thursdays with a young man by the name of Logan Howse at, what is that, guys? 6 p.m. Central, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern Standard. All right, before we go tonight, it is 10:24 Central, 11:24 Eastern Standard. Dolly's over here on her bed asleep. She is tossing and turning and spinning around a couple times. She's ready to get out of here. But before we go, remember, we are brought to you by you. Do consider going to worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors. We have Bella Grace there. I take this each and every day. We have Numi, that's loaded with glutathione to detox your cells. We have the Happy Howl. This is the new dog food that Dolly absolutely loves. It is 100% human grade ingredients, no artificial preservatives, complete and balanced food for all life stages. You don't have to refrigerate it. You don't have to freeze it. You don't have to unfreeze it. She loves it. Pearl, our little white schnauzer, mini schnauzer, loves it as well. They both love it to death. We're very happy to have found it. And it's human grade food. And it comes in a lot of varieties. We just got another shipment in yesterday or 2 days ago. This is Tasty Turkey Feast, but she has all kinds. I don't know which one I pick each and every night. I don't read the package. But I know that whatever I pick, it's not going to be the same one as the night before. She loves the variety. So again, worldviewtube.com/sponsors for all those great products we have there. Also, don't forget about the Gatatana, which is, again, one little scoop is equivalent of 90 billion plant cells. You'll find it there. And then finally, would you consider going right over here to this website, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Make a contribution of any size, if you would, worldviewfoundation.com, so we can keep pushing out free programming like you have seen tonight. And of course, like you see all day long, we push out all kinds of free programming. But our bandwidth bill is about $8,000, $9,000 a month, not to count our IT bills and other bills we have just to push out free programming. We got to bring in about 40 grand a month to cover our operational costs. So again, between our products that we're offering you that we use and endorse, our foundation, we appreciate your helping us keep this network on the air and going and bringing you programming that you've come to count on. Don't forget about our national conference coming up Friday night, October 23rd, Saturday, October 24th. It's free. It's our 22nd annual Worldview Weekend National Conference. We're moving it to Waukesha, Wisconsin, outside of Milwaukee this year. For the first time, we've been in Lake of the Ozarks, Branson, Memphis last year. Now to Waukesha, that beautiful building we filled up with 1,000 people, standing room only last October. There was 3 of us speaking. This time we're bringing a lot more. That's just those we've invited so far. Patrick Wood, Andy Wood, Sharam Hadian, Andy Cyrus, Alex Newman, myself. More invited. We'll be announcing that. It's free, but you have to have a ticket so we don't overfill and get in trouble with the fire marshal. So you have to have a ticket. Even though it's free, you can register at worldviewtube.com/events. Spread the word, if you would, please. worldviewtube.com/events. All right, guys, let's call it a night. Roll the music. By the way, we put in another order today for freeze-dried food. Those sales are starting back up. They've been pretty slow the last couple of years, but now they're kicking back up because people are worried about war, where we're going. But a lot of people are doing what I do. I've stored in enough for my family, but then I've stored in quite a bit to barter with, to trade with. Because if there is a financial crisis, one of the first things I can barter with that'll become a medium of exchange, you know is going to be food. WorldviewStore.com to get your order in. WorldviewStore.com, another great way to support us. Thank you for watching. May God save America. Take care.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcast.
Faith, spiritual values, moral issues, government, economy, education, work, responsibility. What we think about these depends on our worldview. Now, VCY America presents Worldview Radio with Brannon Howse.
All right, welcome. Glad you're with us. I'm going to have